Okay, so a couple of things regarding transposing instruments. Now, this score does not have any transposing instruments, but many scores do, obviously. So let me go ahead and add an instrument. Let's add a clarinet in B flat, just to show you what happens. So the score is in C major, or some kind of atonal, non-tonal key. However, the clarinet part shows up with two sharps. So what's up with that? Well, the reason for that is that, well, obviously the clarinet is a transposing instrument, which means in order for it to sound in C major, it needs to read in D major. However, especially nowadays, composers that write non-tonal music don't really like that. They'll still want the instrument to show in its transposition. In other words, they'll still write a D natural when they want to hear a C natural, but they don't want to see the key signature. Like that can lead someone to think that they're in a specific key or something. Another thing that's important to know is that finale is automatically transposing things. So if you write a D, it will sound a whole step lower by default. So anyway, the way you deal with the transpositions is you go to the score manager, and if you go to clarinet, you'll see here that there's under transposition, it says B flat up a major second, add two sharps. And if you could get rid of that by just saying no transposition, like my B flat clarinet for some reason plays in C. Oh, if you don't want it for whatever reason. Or you can do another thing, which is go to other and then choose, instead of a key signature type of transposition, a chromatic transposition. This is what I normally use, once again, because most of the music I write is not tonal. So I just use this option right here. And so what it'll do is it'll still give you the transposition. It just won't show it as a key signature. Okay, and lastly, let's go back and leave it alone. There's another option here. If you are using writing a piece that uses transposition, this is especially useful if you're composing, or but let's say you're writing you have a piano piece and you're trying to arrange it for woodwind quintet. So you'll have some of the instruments that have transposition, and it can get kind of confusing, especially if you're not really familiar with the transpositions. You can click on this option, which is display in concert pitch. And what this will do is it'll show you the entire score in C. In other words, let me give you a better example of this. Let's say this is B, A, right? And let's say this one says, I type C sharp A, but it's really B, A, because the clarinet is a transposing instrument. If I click on display in concert pitch, it'll now move it down. In other words, it's displaying the real sounding pitch. That's what concert pitch is. And sometimes, well, composers will always specify if the score is in concert pitch, which sometimes they do. Another way to say that is they'll say the score is in C. Okay, so that's on transpositions.